How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Memches, Daf 48 of Masechet Nedarim, friends. Oh man, stretch it out. Okay. By the way, at my age, I gotta be careful when I stretch. I'm nervous. You stretch too hard, could be game over. Next thing you know, you can't move. Gotta be careful at my age. It's almost my birthday, Lamaisa. Oh my. I'm getting old. Masechet Nedarim awaits. I may as well. I may as well spend my time teaching Babylon Talmud, not being nervous about stretching. Oh my gosh. Alright. Well, today we're talking about Nedarim. But also some interesting stuff. We talk at the end about Kinyan Khalifin, which is interesting in my opinion. Let's go weiter. We're going to start Daf Mem Zayin and base. We're also finishing. Oh man, Babel Yad. Caught on camera. Alright. Sheesh. Today we're finishing the 5th parak of Masechet Nedarim. Friends, says the Mishnah, Daf Mem Zayin Beis, Hareini alecha cherim. I am upon you a cherim. Hamudar Aser. So, if Reuben says to Shimon, I am upon you a cherim, Shimon can't get any benefit from Reuben. Harei at olai cherim. But if Reuben says to Shimon, you are upon me a cherim, Hanodar Aser. Well then, Reuben, who says this to Shimon, right? Reuven says, Shimon, you are upon me a cherim. Well, then Reuven can't get benefit from Shimon. Hareini alecha ve'at olai. And if he says, I am upon you and you are upon me, shnei masurin. Then they can't. Then neither one, right? I am a cherim upon you and you are a cherim upon me. Well, neither one can get benefit from the other. Shnei mutarin b'davar shel olei bavel v'asurin b'davar shel osa ha'ir. Ho. And they are both permitted when it comes to the things of Olei Bavel, of the pilgrims, the Aliyah people. I met Aliyah a long time ago. So the people, right, they're permitted. Babel Yaz, man. I haven't been good at pausing the video, man. I'm going to put y'all to sleep. So they're permitted with the things of the, how do you say the Ola people, the Aliyah people, the immigrants, the ascenders to the land of Israel, right? The Mishnah is going to explain what that means. But they're forbidden when it comes to sort of communal things. Meaning, the point being that these things of Olei Bavel, they are like public, and because they're public, they don't belong to anybody. And because they don't belong to anybody, both of these two individuals who are unable to get benefit from one another, they can get benefit from these public things. But things that belong to the city, actually, it's not that they're public, it's that everybody owns a share. And therefore, if they get benefit, then Mamela, they're shtickle getting a share, or benefit from the other fellow's share, so that's not allowed. Now, what are these things of the ascenders from Babylon? You could go on Har Bayis, for example, the Temple Mount, Ve'azaris in the courtyards, and upon the way, I think we learned about it in Masechet Eruvin, right? That was those Diumdos, I think, the Diumdin, I think. But anyways, so these water situations on the way from Babylonia to Israel. So those are all public space, and therefore these two fellows can get benefit darin. What is considered something belonging to the city that they all each own a share in? Could go on Harachava ve'amerchotz, for example, like the big plaza in the city and the bathhouse, uveis hakneses, the synagogue, ve'ateva, the ark, ve'asvarim, and the Sefer Torah. So those things, neither one can get benefit from, because they'll be getting benefit memelech from the portion that belongs to the other fellow. Ve'akosev chelko lanosi, and a fellow who writes his portion to the priest. We're going to have to explain, the Gemara is going to explain what that means. Abuda Omer says Abuda, Echad Kosev Lanosi. Well, actually, let me explain it properly now, and then forget about my explanation when we look at the Gemara, because the Gemara is going to be shocked. But basically what it means is that if they write their portion to the priest, to the Nasi, not the priest, the ruler, the leader, to the Nasi, so then, so if they write, meaning, for example, their portions in the synagogue, so they can't go to the synagogue because they'll be getting benefit from the other fellow's portion. But if they write their portion to the Nasi, so then they wrote it away to the Nasi, and then they can now go to the synagogue because they won't be benefiting from each other since they wrote away their portions to the Nasi. Rabbi Yehuda says that you could write it to the Nasi, or you could write it to just a regular Tom, Dick, and Harry. Ma bin kosiv the Nasi, the kosiv the Ejit. What's the difference though between if you write away your portion to the Nasi versus if you write away your portion to a Tom, Dick, and Harry? By the way, friends, I made up a joke yesterday. I can't share it because I'm not sure it's appropriate, but my mother said it's funny, which she doesn't usually say, so that's a good sign. You can ask her if you want to know it, but do a direct message, probably. Shakosiv l'nosi ein tzarich l'zakis, lehedjit tzarich l'zakis. So, the difference between if you write away your portion to the Nasi versus to a Tam, Dick, and Harry, so the difference is to be mizakeh. What does that mean? So if you write it to the Nasi, so if you write away your portion to the Nasi, so you write a contract, you say that you're writing it to the Nasi, you sign it, from the second that you sign it, it belongs to the Nasi. Whereas if you're writing it to a Tam, Dick, and Harry, so it wouldn't be enough to just write that I'm giving away my portion to Tom, Dick, and Harry, and then you sign it. That wouldn't be enough. You would then need somebody to accept it on behalf, right, of Tom, right, to accept it, and by accepting it, they're then sort of transferring the ownership to Tom, Dick, and Harry. That would be required. But for the Nasi, you wouldn't need the step of somebody receiving it in order to transfer the ownership to Tom, Dick, and Harry. Well, by the Nasi, you wouldn't need that, but by Tom, Dick, and Harry, you would need it. Whereas the Chacham say that you would need to be mizakeh both by the Nasi as well as by Tom, Dick, and Harry. The only reason why we mention the Nasi is because that's the most common, is to give it away to the Nasi. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, says Rabbi Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda that the people in the Galilee do not need to write away their portions to the Nasi because their forefathers already basically said all of our portions are just going to be written over to the Nasi. The Gemara is going to explain why. Says the Gemara, Amai Mitzvah. We had said in the Mishnah, L'Nasi and Tzarech L'Zakis, that, Echad Kosiv L'Nasi V'Akosiv Chalko L'Nasi, that. Right, and we said that, and if he writes his portion to the Nasi, so then he's not allowed to get any benefit from these things. The thing is, why? Amai mitzvah? Why, if he gives away his portion to the Nasi, why is it also? So, Rav Sheshes Hachi Katani. Rav Sheshes says this is how you have to learn the Mishnah, Umatakaноson. And how do you fix it? Meaning, if Reuven and Shimon, right, if Reuven says that Shimon, you can't get benefit from me and I can't get benefit from you, so then, what do? How do they fix this? How do they go to the synagogue? So yikosvu chelkon l'nasi. So the way to fix it is that they can write away their portions to the Nasi, and by doing so, then they can go to the synagogue. Okay, fine. Skip the parentheses. So that's skip 5-6 lines or something. Rabbi Yehuda Omer says Rabbi Yehuda ein anshe gadol tzrichen nezakis shekvar kosvu avesein al yedein. Says Rabbi Yehuda that the people in the Galilee do not need to be mizakeh, do not need that if they write away their property, they would not need to be mizakeh. If they write away their portion, they would not need to be mizakeh because their fathers already did it. Tani, we learn in the Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda Omer says Rabbi Yehuda Anshegalu Kanterin Hoyu. The people of the Galilee were very feisty. And and they would make Nedarim that they wouldn't get benefit from one another, and it would cause all sorts of problems. So they so the fathers got up and they said, all right, we're not gonna have all of our portions in these communal things anymore. We're just gonna write it all the way to the Nasi, and then that way, if we get into fights, we can still make use of these communal inyonim. New Mishnah. Hamudar anoya mechavero ve'en lo mayocha. So if Reuven is not allowed to get any benefit from Shimon, but Reuven is pashit starving, nosno la'achir l'shum matane ve'ala muter ba. So what Shimon can do is, so Reuven's pashit starving, he can't get any benefit from Shimon, but what Shimon can do is he can give it to Levi as a gift, and Levi can give it to Reuven, and then by doing so, Reuven can receive this food, even though it's initially coming from Shimon, but Shimon can give it to Levi to give to Reuven, and that would be okay. He gives it to Levi as a gift, and then Levi can give it to Reuven. Maise, there was a Maise, be'echad be'beis choron, with a fellow in Beis Choron. A fellow. He was in Beis Choron. Shahaya aviv noder emenu muder menu hanoya. His father wasn't allowed to get any benefit from him. His father was not allowed to get any benefit from him. And he was making a chasana. His son was getting married, and he was making a chasana, and he wanted his father to come to the chasana, but his father can't get any benefit from him, so he can't come to the chasana. So the son says to his pal, that the courtyard and the suda are yours. So that now my father can come and enjoy the suda, can enjoy the chasana, since I'm giving away everything to you. He's not getting benefit from me, he's getting benefit from you. So the pal says, look, buddy, if you're giving me the courtyard and the suda, well, I am going to make them hekdesh. I'm going to make them hekdesh, and now nobody can get any benefit from them. Omar le, to which the guy making the chasana says, what, do you think that I gave you this, the courtyard and all the suda and the whole chasana? You think I gave everything to you so you can be makdish it so that nobody can get benefit from it? Omar lo, to which the pal says, Nosati li es shelcha ela shetei atov avicha ochlin v'shosin u'misratzin zelaze. To which the pal says, look, I know what you did. You gave me the courtyard and the suda and everything just as a ploy so that your father can, who's mudar mimcha, right? Your father who's not allowed to get any benefit from you, now he's going to come to the suda, right? After you said he can't get any benefit from you. And you're now doing this ploy where you're giving this stuff to me just so your father can now come in violation of the neder. And whose fault is it going to be? Mine. I'm the guy facilitating all this. No way, no how. The Chacham said, to which the Chacham say, look, if you're giving epis away, then it has to be a real giving away. It has to be a real gift. If the guy receiving it can't be makdish it if he wants to, it's not a real gift. And therefore this guy says, look, man, if you're giving it to me, then I'm being makdish it, but otherwise get lost. Buddy, says the Gemara, Maisa Listor. The Gemara says, I don't understand. The Gemara says, I don't understand. Somebody's making noise outside. I don't understand why they're making noise. What's going on out there? Ich weiß nicht. What the heck? What are they doing out there? I got stuff to do. So the Gemara says, Maisa Listo, I don't understand. What are they making noise for? Okay, I gotta focus. Okay. The Gemara says, I don't understand. The Mishnah says, Hamudar anoye mechaver bein lo mayocha, nosno la'achil l'shum matone ve'ala muter ba. The Mishnah says, if Reuven can't get benefit from Shimon, Reuven's pashut starving, Shimon wants to help him out, so he can give the food as a gift to Levi, and then Levi can now take it and give it to Reuven. The Mishnah says, Shimon can give it as a gift, and then Reuven's permitted. And then we bring a story from this chasana where the son tries to do the same exact thing. He's giving the thing as a gift to the pal, and yet we're saying that it doesn't work. Because if he can't be makdish it, it's not a real gift. So on the one hand, first we're saying that you give it as a gift and that's the solution. And then we bring a story where the guy gave it as a gift and we're saying it didn't work. So Maisa Lister, we're saying we're making a claim in the Mishnah and then bringing a Maisa to contradict it? We should bring a Maisa to support it. So the Mishnah is missing a few words. This is what you got to say. To it, right? So we say, look, if Reuven can't get any benefit from Shimon, Reuven is starving. So what does Shimon do? He gives the stuff as a gift to Levi, and then Levi can give it to Reuven. So that's okay. But if it's clear that Shimon is only doing this as a ploy so that Reuven can get the food from him, even though he's not allowed to benefit from him, also, then it's not allowed. And there was taka once a maise with a guy who's making a chasna, he wanted his father to come. Now in that case, it was clear from the fact that the friend couldn't be makdash and he was limited in what he was able to do. It was clear that the son was really just giving it to the friend so that his father can take part, and therefore in that case, it was not allowed. The gift was not allowed. Says the Gemara, Omar Rav, says Rav lo shanu ela do Omar le v'hinon lefonecha ela k'dei sheyavo abba. So Rav says, look, the only time when it's a problematic gift is when the son says specifically, I'm only giving you, the chatzar and the suda, so that my father can partake. That's not allowed. Avo. But Omar le sheyihu lefonecha sheyavo abba midaitcha hu de Omar le. But if he says, look, I'm giving you the chotzer and the suda and everything so that now my father would be able to come, then it's permitted. I.e., meaning if he's saying, I'm only giving it to you so that my father can come, well then it's basically limiting the gift, right? He's basically saying, I'm only giving it to you so that my father can come. That's not allowed. But if he says, I'm giving it to you, and now that it's yours and it's not mine anymore, now my father can come, well that's a different story. He's saying that now that I've given it to you, it's within your discretion to allow my father to now come, and that would be okay. Lishnachrina. Alternatively, Amarin Lishnachrina Amarin. We say alternatively, Amar Rava says Rava lo tema taimo da Amar levihinon lifanechahu de aser. Do not say that it's only aser because he says that I'm only doing this so that my father can come. Wow, that was a double negative. I'm usually not a double negative guy. But don't say it's only limited to a case where the guy makes it clear that he's only doing this so that his father can chaparan. But if he would say, Hein lifanecha shavo abba v'yochal mutter, and don't say, but if he would say that, look, it's yours, and now that it's yours, it's within your discretion to allow my father to come, that would be allowed. No. Rather, even if he says, okay, what the heck is going outside my window? I'm a little nervous to get up because after my standing situation recently with the microphone, but anyways, I should get up and see if I can figure out what's going on. Yeah, there's some movement starting. Ich weiß nicht. Maybe the neighbor is planting a plant in my chotzer. Right, I saw her yesterday. She was telling me about aloe vera or something. I said, I don't know, do what you want. She said, do you want me to plant it? I said, okay, plant it. That sounds great. Thank you very much. I'm not going to do it. Anyways, so where am I? So rather, even if he says, look, it's yours, and now that it's yours, you can allow my father to come, that's oichit, not allowed. My taima, how come it's not allowed? Sudasa muchachas olav. Because clearly from the fact that, he's investing all this money in the suda, clearly he's not really giving it away to the other guy. He just invested all this time and energy and money in making a suda. Clearly he's not giving it away to his friend. It's really just a ploy so that his father could partake. There was a guy, and the guy had his son. You know what his son's name was? Maybe you've heard of his son's name. His son's name was Moshe the Ganef. His son's name was Moshe the Ganef. And Moshe the Ganef was stealing bundles of flax. Can you imagine? The audacity, he was stealing bundles of flax. So the father says, that's it. Moshe says, you can't get any benefit from my property, that's it. They said to the father, but what if you're Einikel? What if you're by the way, mazel tov to my parents, they just had Wait, is Einukol just for boys? Oof. Yeah, that's where it's not good to, not know what you're talking about. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, my parents just had a granddaughter. Which makes me, a nephew. No. Wait, I learned Yivamis. I should know this. This makes me an uncle. That makes me an uncle. I'm already an uncle, but, okay, right, okay. I'm an uncle. I have to go on Amazon and buy it. Also, we have those Babylon Talmud onesies. That makes for a good baby present. Anyways, so Moshe the Ganef, so Amru Lei, V'avoy Ba'broch Tzur b'Merabonon Mai. Now what if your grandson is a Talmud Chacham? If you say that your son Moshe is unable to get benefit from your stuff, well then Memele, his son, won't be able to get benefit from your stuff because it goes through him and he's not allowed to get benefit. So Omar Loon, so he says to them, Liknei Hadain. So he says, look, I could be makne my property to Moshe only to the extent v'ihavoy barbri tzur b'merabonon lekanye. To the extent that, if my grandson, if my Einukol becomes a Talmud Chacham, so then it will belong to my son, so that my Einukol can have the property, and if the Einukol is not a Talmud Chacham, well then it'll all just go to my other son who's not a Ganef. Ame Pumpedisoi, to which the Pumpedei sayings said, Kanye almanas lahaknos hu. No, that doesn't work, because in that case, he's only, the father is only giving over his property to his son Moshe the Ganef so that he can be makneh to his Einukol, to his grandson. Meaning he's not actually giving it to Moshe. He's only giving it to Moshe under the, so that if the Einukol becomes ends up being a Talmud Chacham, Moshe will be able to give the possessions to the Einukol, but Moshe will never have take possession of it, right? It will immediately, but it only belongs to him, so that he could pass it on to the Einukol, but it never actually belongs to him. It's Kanye almanas lahaknos hu, v'chol Kanye almanas lahaknos lo Kanye. And if you sort of be makneh something to a fellow only so that he can be makneh to somebody else, it doesn't work. For Rav Nachman Omer Kanye, Rav Nachman says that it does work. It does work. That the father can give the property to Moshe only to the extent that if the Einukol is a Talmud Chacham, so then Moshe can bequeath it to the Einukol. Deho Sudra Kanye Almanas Lahaknos Hu. Because a Kinyan Sudar is Kanye Almanas Lahaknos. What does that mean? You ever been to a chasana? So at the chasan's tish, if you're not busy getting crunked, so you'll notice that the Masada Kedushin, he gives a pen to the chasan. So basically we've learned in the past, where did we learn? In Masechta Ksubis, Masechta Yevamis, somewhere there we learned about, if you have Reuven as a donkey, Shimon as a cow, and they want to make a swap, right? Reuven as a donkey, Shimon as a cow, they're gonna swap it around. Reuven as the cow, Shimon as the donkey, so then Shimon's gonna get the cow, Reuven's gonna get the donkey. So I don't even remember who has what anymore. Reuven as the cow, Shimon as the donkey. So what you could do is, Reuven can go to Shimon's house and schlep the donkey, and immediately when, it's called the Kinyan Chalifin, immediately when Reuven schleps Shimon's donkey, Reuven's cow becomes Shimon's, right? So, but when you do a Mashicha, when you schlep it, so then that affects, Reuven gets the donkey and Shimon gets the cow. Now, there's another way that you can do this, right? So, for example, if the chosin at a chasana wants to be makneh things to the kala, so he has stuff that he wants to make belong to the kala. So what he could do is, Now here they're not swapping anything necessarily, right? He's being makna things to her. So what they could do is, so the I guess the Kala's family has this pen or whatever, and then they give it to the Chosin, and the Chosin picks it up. And by picking it up, he's makna his stuff to her. I think that's how it works. I don't know, I guess that's how it works at a wedding. But that's like the concept of this Kinyan Khalifin, right? So you can even mention like Reuven and Shimon, right? If Reuven wants to give property to Shimon, so how does he give the property to Shimon? Well, Shimon can give Reuven a pen or a handkerchief. Reuven picks it up. And when he picks it up, by picking up Shimon's handkerchief or pen, Reuven's field now is transferred to Shimon. And then he gives the handkerchief or the pen back to Shimon. So in that case, Reuven's only picking it up in order to be, right, he's then going to be giving it right back to, to Shimon. So, Rav Nachman says that, well, if by a situation of Kinyan Khalifin, right, it's Makna Amanas Lahaknos, Kanya Amanas Lahaknos, that Reuven is only getting the handkerchief but then he gives it right back, and we're saying that works, that's valid. So here also, the father should be able to give the property to Moshe the Ganif, just so that he could then bequeath it to his Einakol if he ends up being a Talmud Chochem. So fine. Omer Rav Ashi says, Rav Ashi uman leimalon de sudra itofis lei lo mitbis. So Rav Ashi says, yeah, but that's different. In the situation of Reuven, when he's giving property to Shimon, so he picks up Shimon's handkerchief and then gives it back. If Reuven wanted to hold on to the handkerchief, he could. Whereas over here, we're saying Moshe the Ganif actually has no right to this property. He only has a right to the extent that he needs to pass it on to his son. But in the situation of Reuven picking up Shimon's handkerchief, if he wanted to, he can keep it. Ve'od, and more so, Sudra Koni Amanas La'aknos. Ve'kanye min hashta. But also when it comes to the Kinyan Sudra, right, so let's say if Reuven wants to give property to Shimon, so he picks up Shimon's handkerchief, Kanya Amanas La'aknos, so he's chapping around the handkerchief and he's going to give it back, but Ve'kani min hashta. The second that Reuven picks up the handkerchief, the property is given over to Shimon, and by the time he's giving back the handkerchief, the property already belongs to Shimon. But Halein Nichsin Dahadain, but when it comes to the property of Moshe the Ganif, right, or the father that's being given to Moshe the Ganif, which is only going to take effect, which is only going to be given to the grandson at a later point, Le'mosai Kanye, L'chihava Barbeit Tzuv Me'abonon. When does the property go to Moshe the Ganif to then go to his son? Is when the son ends up being a Talmud Chochem, L'chihava Hodar Sudra L'mor. But at that point, the Sudar has already been returned to its master, right? At that, right, the kinyan is only taking effect at a later date if the grandson ends up being a Talmud Chacham, which is not the case by the kinyan sudar, which immediately when Reuven picks it up, the property goes to Shimon, and by the time he gives it back, it already had taken the property already belongs to Shimon, which is not the case when it comes to Moshe the Ganif, because this is something that's only going to take effect way in the future once he has a child, and the child ends up being a Talmud Chacham. By that point, whatever handkerchief they used in the kinyan is already gone. So therefore these cases are not comparable. Omele Rava Rav Nachman, Rava says to Rav Nachman, "V'mandas beischorin the kanya manas laaknosu v'lo kanya." But says Rava to Rav Nachman, I don't understand. How can you hold that kanya amanas lahaknos kanye? How can you say that you can make a kinyan only to the extent that you then have to be maknit to somebody else? But what about the matnas beischon? What about our Mishnah, where the Baal Simcha, where the son made a matone to the friend only so that his father would be able to partake, and we're saying that did not work. So Zimnin Armale Mishum de Sudas Muchachas Olav. So sometimes Rav Nachman would respond and say that, well, because the fact that he invested so much in the Suda means, right, it's clear that he's not really serious about being maknet. And sometimes Rav Nachman would say, Rabbi Eliezer, it's Rabbi Eliezer the Amr who says, Afilu viter also b'mudar anoy. When it comes to somebody who's also ba'ano, so then you can't even, right, even things that normally people would normally people would be willing to accommodate and not charge for or anything like that. Even that is also when it comes to somebody who's mudar ano, and that is why it is not allowed in that case. But generally, we would say that right that you would be able to make a kinyan, only so that you then forward the kinyan to somebody else. Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah. The Chacham said, that we said that any gift that the person who receives it would be unable to be makdish it, so such a gift is not really considered a gift. So, kol l'isuyemai, what is kol coming to include? Right, when we say Chacham kol matana she'ena she'mikdisha te mukdeshes. What's right in any situation coming to include what? Lav asuye hamilsa deshadye be chefe. Is it not coming to say that even in what case is it coming to include? The case of Moshe the Ganef, and we're saying that he's unable to bequeath the stuff to Moshe the Ganef, just that he gives it to his son. Lo lasuye dishna basra deshmaite. No, the kol is coming to include that we saw the opinion of Rava earlier, who said that not only in a situation where the son says to the friend, I'm giving you the Suda just so that my father can eat, but even in the situation of, I'm giving it to you, now that it's yours, you can allow my father to come and eat. Even that situation we said is also, and that's from kol matana, right? That's included in kol, right? Any situation where he's unable to be makdish it includes that situation as well. Friends, that was the memches of Masechta Nedarim. We talked about cherims, right? People making cherims. You're a cherim to me, I'm a cherim to you, we're a cherim to each other. We talked about the difference between public property like the Ole Bavel and shared property like the public property in a town. And then we said that if Reuven can't get benefit from Shimon, but he's starving, so Shimon can give it as a gift to somebody else, and then that person can give it to Reuven. But we say that needs to be a real gift, right? We had the story from Beis Choron where we said that it was clear that it wasn't a sincere gift. The guy had made a whole suda; he's not really giving it away to his friend. So that in that case, the father would be unable to partake. And the Chacham said that any gift that if the fellow wanted to be makdish it, he would be unable to be makdish it, so it is not really a gift. We saw the suga of kanya manas lahaknos, that if you make a kinyan only so that you forward it on, does that work? Rav Nachman says yes, and he wanted to bring a proof from kinyan chalifin, when somebody picks up like a pen or something, and by doing that he transfers ownership of something to somebody else. You wanted to bring that as a proof, but we add kashas against that. Friends, Hadron Olach, Ashutfin, we'll come back to you, Perik Ashutfin. That was Daf Memches of Masechta Nedarim. I hope you enjoyed. Peace out.